It's time to face the fascia. I got a letter from Winnipeg asking, Shal, how do I get rid of all this paint peeling and filler chipping out of the crack where I butt the fascia? Well, here you can see a good example. Two fascia boards coming together, there's been filler added. Well, over a period of time with water running over the flashing, coming down and deteriorating all the filler and the paint, and then eventually just chipping off and looking really bad. As well as all the staining along the white fascia board here, wanting to, well, clean it up, make it look better. Here the flashing as the nails are coming loose, again causing nothing but a poor, unsightly looking fascia board. I'm going to suggest what we do here is cover the fascia because the trim color in this particular home is wanting to be changed in any event away from white into a green color. So let's cover it up with aluminum. But you just can't take aluminum and put it on the fascia and nail it into place. You have to at least have it designed in such a way to go up underneath the flashing, down underneath the fascia board and up in behind to hook into place and look nice and trim and neat. But also being 9 inches on the fascia, we want to put a crimp in it. That way it's not going to wobble or oil can along the face. So let's go down and take a look at the solution. Here we have the fascia board here that we've had made up at the tin shop. And as you can see, it measures 9.5 inches, being the 9 inches of fascia board plus the ½ inch that I have bent around at 180 degrees to give it a good rigid edge. As well as down at the bottom here, I've had it returned at 90 degrees, 1.5 inches across the underface of the fascia board and 1/2 inch up in behind to give it a good clamp. It looks like a J clamp going up underneath that fascia board. And most important, the V in the face of the fascia. Now the reason for that is to stop that oil can wrinkling. And you can actually see it if you don't have that V in place. That V will keep it nice and rigid along the face of the fascia. Let's go up and take a look at what it's going to look like. I brought a piece of the fascia up just to show you as to why I'm installing from left to right rather than from right to left. And the reason for that, if I was installing from the right to the left, the overlap becomes very piecey looking if you're looking at from the street line. Whereas if installing from the left to right as I'm doing, sliding up underneath, you lose that whole visual of the overlap, giving you a nice clean sweep right down the fascia. And here's that real ugly joint where the fill was coming out and the paint was peeling. And let's just face the problem by covering it up, making it look nice and neat and tidy. There we have the last piece put into place. You can see I left just enough to overlap up the gable fascia board that I can crimp over, give a nice trim face there. As well as when I've come along to the seam here, I've overlapped it, and it's always good to put the nail in the overlap portion and just use a common nail about 3 inches long and tap through a pilot hole. That way it makes it much easier to put your last nail in. I'm using 1 1/8" roofing nails. They're galvanized. That way it gives you a nice trim nail, as well as it can be painted quite easily, and as well it won't rust. Now I put the nails in about every 3 feet along the full length. That way you're not binding it too tight in the event of any expansion and contraction with the heat of the sun. But it gives you a nice trim piece all the way through, finishing that fascia board and certainly stopping all that painting and peeling. And I hope that helps out that painting and peeling problem.